After the debacle of 2K20, the 2K series was planning to make a comeback in a big way. They had talked about listening to the fans and trying to deliver more of what players wanted. Through the previews and news, we learned that General Manager mode was finally making a comeback. Players that were fans of the mode hadn't seen it in a game since 2008. The mode had been long requested and brought up for years as one of the most requested features to return. So what happened? WWE 2K22 brought back the mode in not a big way. Lack of options, customization, control, and just depth really made the mode feel hollow and lacking that special feeling we had for it back in 2008. So let's go back a ways, shall we? But not 2008. Let's look back at 2007. Because isn't this the best? You can draft the entire roster, not just random selections that are pigeonholed and just don't even have access to the full roster. Come on, 2K. More control over your contracts for different terms. Not just a 5-week contract like we're getting in 2K today, but I could select different time frames that would work. I could assign all the champions in the one menu, not after having a match and then go into the sub menu and then I go and have a match, like a tag team match, to determine my tag team champions or my US champion on the card instead of just assigning to them. It's just, I don't get it. You got clean and dirty toggle, being able to select whether you're going to be a heel or a face right away. Change it on my whims. And one of my favorite features, storyline writers. Being able to hire different writers for my show, contract them to the show, being able to select different storylines within that I wanted to be able to pursue so I could get those actual specific storyline threads to play out. Having one for betrayal or factions or winning a diva's heart, injury related ones, patriotism, who's the greatest of all time, and having the star ratings for those storylines involved. It's severely lacking. When I went back and replayed 2007, this is what stood out to me the most as just something that I'm like, oh, that's what kept me coming back to GM mode in the past, was selecting new storylines. We don't get that in 2K23. We set up our rivalries and that's it. They just fight for belts, or they just fight because they're fighting. You can do trades in here. You hear that, 2K? You can propose trades, and not just 1 for 1, but 3 for 3, or 3 for 2, or 3 for 1. It was incredible. I can try to dump 3 low-performing wrestlers for 1 big star, and to see if the AI would go for it. And funny enough, they were smart enough not to take Daivari for John Cena. What I loved too was being able to have your smaller show, your minor show ahead of it, having Velocity ahead of Smackdown, booking those smaller matches to get more people on the card. We don't have that in 23. We don't have a full calendar year. It's really weird. But I like that I could go through and just set up some generic Velocity matches or have a rivalry that's going to be on the smaller scale. We need that in 24 where I could actually go in and have main event as my minor show. Then I could eventually move that feud maybe up to the main roster on Monday Night Raw. And you're putting these storylines together for your rivalries, not just putting your wrestlers in matches based on their class system, not trying to get a better match score outcome or rating because you followed the rules of having a cruiserweight against a heavyweight and that gave you a better score. No, it's about the actual storylines you produce and the match quality. And honestly, after looking back, you can see with this much control how GM mode basically evolved into universe mode. So after we got the very mid return of GM mode in 22, we finally got 23 and hoping for the updates and the fixes we desperately wanted, and we got, well, we got more titles patched in. We really didn't see much. They cleaned up the UI, Triple H is still in charge of everything, and they added some trophies and the ability to select a few more match types. Also in 2007, you could have a 6-man match, 6-man tag team match, fella. In 2K23, no. Fatal 4-ways are there. So this is where we can see things have gone wrong. My GM in 2K23 really felt like a half-step measure. A few more updates, a few more things added, but largely it's the same as the year prior. The current version lacks the depth. There's no trades, there's still no control over contracts, and I really think that because there's no real storyline option or reasons for rivalries to happen, it's created this very generic hollow experience. It doesn't give me that itch, that feeling of getting back in there and repeating and trying it again and again, or starting in a new season to focus on different storylines. It doesn't have that hook that the games back in like 2006 and 7 really had. So how can 2K fix it? Honestly, after looking back at 2007 and the options that were available at that point, you could have called it universe mode. You had the full calendar, you had storylines, you created the rivalries, all of your belts were there. And I think 2K should just ditch MyGM altogether and expand on universe mode in a big way. Simply combine and modernize the two together. We've kind of saw that happen in the past. We had GM mode, then they stopped it, and then we got universe mode. Now we have both back in again. We have the rivalry and storyline features in universe. Just expand on those, add in a draft, add contract options and a budget in universe mode. Allow me to use my universe cash to hire writers, create new storylines, and watch how it all unfolds. And then just give players the free mode option. Keep that in there. Allow me to toggle it on and off. So if I want to be able to be within the confines of the stories and what's being played out based on the decisions we make, great, but hit that option to hit the free mode button and then allow me to just do anything I want within the mode too. That keeps that sandbox element alive. I think if 2K24 gives us GM mode again, I worry it'll all be the same with maybe 6-man matches now available, maybe an option to pick a custom arena as our main show, and that's all. And just for me, I think you can argue that they don't want to put too much in GM mode, because if they did add everything we wanted, it basically just turned into universe mode. If you gave us a full calendar year, you gave us every match type that's available in the game, custom arenas, it's universe mode. So I feel like in 24, they're more likely to keep restraints on it versus going hog wild, not the WCW pay-per-view, but going crazy with it and giving fans way more in that regard. One of the two in the future I feel really need to happen. They either keep universe mode and try to add the GM mode elements into it, or they go with GM mode as the primary mode and they ditch universe mode altogether. If you look at GM mode today, there are some good things in there, especially being able to do things like different camera angles when you are just watching a match take place, being able to have a general manager at ringside and interfere. If they add the sandbox elements into GM mode and not go the other way, they might actually have something on their hands there where it could be a big win. We all want universe mode to be expanded, but maybe we're looking at it the wrong way. And maybe because GM mode was built only in 2K22, it has the potential to have more longevity and more sustainability, and maybe it makes it easier for the devs to be able to build upon it versus the very old universe mode that has been around for like a decade. But why did GM mode fail for you? And what do you think it needs to do to bring it back to life? Hit me up in the comments below, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.